Hi, I'm Mike Messier. Welcome to Messier Mantra. Savannah Giammarco is a returning guest to Messier Mantra, and we're very excited to have her here. Savannah, congratulations on behalf of the whole show because,
Thank you.
Yes, because why don't you tell us what championship, or what title, I should say, you've just won?
So I just won Miss Fairfield County, which is a preliminary title to the Miss Connecticut competition, which will be happening in June down at the Palace Theater in Waterbury. So I'm very, very, very excited to be a part of this organization for the third year and to, get back out there.
Now, Fairfield County, is that where you live now? Is that where you grew up?
So I'm actually from Middlesex County, which is about 45 minutes north. But basically, I represented Middlesex County my first year. And how the Miss America organization works on the local level is you can only win one local title once.
Okay.
So because I was already Middlesex County and then I was Southern Connecticut last year, I decided to compete for the Fairfield County title this year.
Well, congratulations, and I think they're happy to have you as their representative.
Well, I hope so. I'm doing my best. So.
And now you move on to Miss Connecticut,
Yes.
which is the state pageant. And
Yes.
does every state? I think every state does have a representative in Miss America, correct?
Yes. So every state does have a representative. Not every state has a competition. If they don't, the title holder can go at large, and that's selected by the state organization. I believe most of our states do have a pageant, though. And it's a really great experience. The candidates have to compete in a 9.5-minute politically based interview. We all have to give a social impact statement, which is basically us talking about some social initiative that we are passionate about. Mine is the Unapologetically Beautiful initiative. And that's something that I created when I was bullied and when I went through eating disorders and, having all these experiences that were very negative on my life and really made me into a strong individual. And I want to take all those experiences and I want to go out into the community and help other girls, other young men, women who struggle with body image or with whatever kind of circumstances that they have in their lives. And I want to be that older sister and that advocate for them.
And does that mean going into the school systems and actually speaking to students, elementary school students? What does that entail exactly?
Yeah, for sure. So I've actually been into some schools already, and the kids are just so welcoming, and they're so interested to hear about my title. And it's funny, the school that I was just in a couple weeks ago, the second I walked in, they had this big poster, and it was like, "Welcome, Miss Fairfield County," and they were asking me like all these questions, like, "What's your favorite ice cream? What's your favorite place you've traveled? Are you married?" So it's really fun to go in there and to tell them a little bit about me and what I do and about the Miss America org, and then also get to talk to them about the Unapologetically Beautiful initiative and give them kind of coping mechanisms for varying situations. I talk to kids all the way up to high school and starting at a very young level. And the programs that I've developed and the speeches that I've developed kind of progress and get a little bit more complex as you raise in the age divisions, because you can't treat a 4-year-old the same way that you can treat a high school kid in regards to the content that you're presenting to them.
If someone within the proper radius wanted you to come in and speak to their students, how would they contact you to inquire about such a?
So you can email me at missfairfieldcountymao@gmail.com, and I will definitely get back to you as soon as I can. I'm happy to go into any school in any radius that's not on the West Coast.
It's within range, so to speak. So if you say you were to win Miss Connecticut, or you or whoever does, let's put it that way, what is the next step for the Miss America contest? What happens between when Miss Connecticut is crowned, 2019, and then the Miss America contest, which is when? When is that?
So right now we don't have a date. It's usually in Atlantic City in September, but right now, because we just are under new leadership with Gretchen Carlson, we are currently exploring our options as far as cities and dates go.
Okay.
So we're not exactly sure when the Miss America competition will be, but I'm sure that it's going to be great. We've had it in Vegas before. We've had it in the original host city of Atlantic City back when it originated in the 20s. So that's still to be decided. But basically what happens is after you win Miss Connecticut, it's like a whirlwind. So you go on a press tour, you go on sponsor visits, you basically dive into your Miss America prep. Because if Miss America does happen to be in September, as it usually is, you have from June to September to get all your wardrobe set, to get, your gown, your walk, everything. So
I was just in Connecticut. It's a great state. It's a bigger state than people think about. Like, it's not a small state.
No, it's not. Like, everyone thinks that Connecticut is so small and you can basically go through it in an hour. And I'm like, You have not traveled Connecticut, but
I mean, I have, as you do, friends in Cromwell. I have friends in New Haven, friends in New London. I was just in Mystic, Connecticut last night. A friend of mine had his birthday party, so I went down to
very
Mystic,
nice.
So the Mystic Luxury Cinema is really nice. I mean, there's a lot of cool places in Connecticut. It's got a lot of happening things, and it's kind of an interesting state because it's halfway in New England and halfway in New York. You know what I mean?
Well, it's funny. They actually call Connecticut the gateway to New England.
Okay.
And I think Connecticut's a great state because there's so much opportunity. You have your suburbs, you have a little bit more of that trendy city life. If you go down south towards New York, you can just hop the train one day if you're bored and you want to go into the city, or if you want to go up to Boston, or if you want to come here to come to Rhode Island. There's so many things that you can do in Connecticut. We have shorelines, we have the beautiful fall foliage. You want to go apple picking, the options are limitless.
And thanks for coming back to Seekonk for this episode. Last time you were here, you had to brave through a storm.
I know.
This time a little bit better.
We were just getting the repercussions of which hurricane was it? Was it
Florence, I think. Yeah.
Yes. And it was so funny. I was driving here in the rain, and I'm like, oh my gosh, I can't see, but we're going to make it. We're going to make it.
Well, I'm glad you're back. And so we talked with you last time about your love of horseback riding. Now, I use the term as was it Aquarian or not?
Equestrian,
Equestrian,
yes.
right?
I got you. Close enough, close enough.
Well, thanks to Kevin and Cody in the studio, production manager Cody and Kevin Vindinha, bringing up the photographs right on cue. Thank you. And that's the man on a horse?
Yep, that's me and my moose.
Right, right.
Yep. His name's actually Baron. His show name is Nobleman because we have their barn names and their formal show name. So
interesting.
He goes by Nobleman, but I call him Moose because when he's just kind of hanging around, he's got like a big long face and kind of looks like Bullwinkle. So we all call him Moose and Moosey, and he's so great. He's so athletic, and he's taught me so much about myself as a rider as well as a horse owner. And right now he's actually got tendonitis, so he's off.
I'm sorry to hear that.
Yeah, but it happens. It's about getting him back to where he needs to be so we can both be on a successful path this season.
And where does it stand now with you in horseback riding and everything?
So since Baron's been injured, I've kind of taken a back seat because I'm currently a senior at Quinnipiac University,
right,
where I have a dual status. I'm a dual status student, excuse me. And so what that means is I'm a graduate and undergraduate student at the same time.
Interesting.
So as I'm finishing my undergraduate degree in journalism, I'm also taking master's classes in public relations. So
very busy.
So busy. It's awesome though. I'm not one that likes to sit still. Even on snow days, I'll be like in my bed watching Netflix. I'll walk in my mom's room and be like, Mom, I need to do something. I'm so bored. I just can't sit.
Wow.
So
and in addition to, can we mention your other part-time job? Is that something you want to talk about? It's with
for sure.
The iHeart Radio organization?
Yeah, so I'm actually an intern with iHeart Radio, and it's been an amazing opportunity. I love working for iHeart. I've actually gotten to meet some really cool people. I got to meet Dean Lewis, who is a singer. He sings the song "Be All Right." I don't know if you've ever heard it.
I groove out to that all the time.
Oh my gosh, it's such a good song. So when they told me that I was working the Duncan Music Lounge in Hartford, and they said, "Oh, like Dean Lewis is coming," I was like, "Oh my God, this is great. This is awesome."
Sure.
So it's been so great to not only meet the celebrities, but to just learn a lot about the company and the different assets, whether it's integrated marketing, or if it's development or sales or digital. So it's been awesome. I spent most of this past Wednesday in studio with Carrie Collins from the River 105.9, and it's been such a great learning experience, and I absolutely have enjoyed this so much.
The thing with radio is it's not going away anytime soon. I mean, you go back, 15, 20 years ago to Napster and stuff like that, and people, file sharing and sharing music, and everyone's got their earphones in listening to their own or digital radio and stuff, commercial free. But I'm telling you, for the most part, you still go into a restaurant or the gym, and for the most part, they still have commercial radio on. When you're in your car, unless you have XM radio, you're pretty much putting on your local radio stations, right?
Right, and iHeart's actually done a really good job of integrating themselves with this digital era of music coming through the medium of your cell phone.
Right.
They have the iHeart Radio app, which allows you to access any iHeart radio station from anywhere. So, you can be in Los Angeles and listen to KISS 95.7, which is a Hartford, Connecticut station.
Interesting.
So iHeart's really done a great job of integrating themselves with this whole shift to digital media on your cell phone, as opposed to, let me just turn on the radio right now.
Interesting. Very cool, very cool. Have you thought about, I know you've done, the way we met was actually at a film event.
Yes.
And you were the hostess, kind of doing interviews. Have you had an opportunity to do any of that recently? With everything else, I know, but I mean...
Yeah, so I've had a few opportunities to go and be a red carpet correspondent with Sweeney Photography.
Sure.
And I absolutely love doing that as well. As someone who is a fashion guru and absolutely loves the fashion world and loves film and music and kind of that Hollywood glam, it's such an amazing job, especially as an aspiring journalist.
Right.
So, yeah, absolutely love doing that. And Brian Sweeney from Sweeney Photography has given me that opportunity, and I am so grateful for it.
What do you think of shows like The View, and there's another show with, I think, Miss Osborne, Sharon Osbourne, if I'm not mistaken.
The Talk.
The Talk, right. Do you watch those shows at all? Are you into them at all?
When I'm home during that time period, I do watch them. I really like The View and the concept of The View. When Barbara Walters first came up with it, it was supposed to be, a variety of different women of different ages and backgrounds and thought processes all coming together to kind of have like a round table conversation about prominent events or things that are going on in the world. And I genuinely love that idea. I think that that's something that's very unique. I think we're at a time right now where people are kind of so stuck in their own ideas, in their own head. And, by listening to other people's perspectives, whether you agree with it or not, makes you a more well-rounded individual and allows you to appreciate perspective so much more.
There's a third show that's also quite good. I'm trying to remember the name of it, but
there's so many.
Well, I'm thinking of a specific one. It has a couple of Japanese ladies as hosts too, and I'm trying to think of the name of the show. And a couple of African American ladies, and it kind of has like a different vibe a little bit. I'm trying to remember the name, but all these shows, I just wondered, have you ever thought about maybe 3 or 4 years from now, when everything else is settled down, maybe you would apply to be on one of these shows?
I would absolutely love that. I'm somebody who loves to, debate and to have open conversations. And like I mentioned, I love to hear other people's perspective, even if I don't necessarily agree. I really do think that that's kind of the beauty of America and the American culture, is that we have this opportunity to engage in conversations that, in other countries might be a little bit taboo or might be, of security concern to the individual, if they were, let's say, to speak out about the president or policies that are happening in that country. So for us to be able to have televised, programs that allow us to speak about these things openly and honestly and hear other people's perspectives is absolutely amazing, and I would love to be a part of something like that.
Sometimes the hosts get into little rivalries. There was the famous one with Rosie O'Donnell and Elizabeth Hasselbeck and Trump and Joy. But, one of the original hostesses was Meredith Vera from Rhode Island, believe it or not. So, I just thought of something because I was watching some clips from them today. They have always something going on. I thought maybe, you should be on one of those shows in 3 or 4 years.
If anybody sees this, if you know anybody, you want to hook me up, I wouldn't say no. So.
And you're also close to the ESPN offices in Connecticut.
Yeah, they're actually really close. They're about 20, 25 minutes from my house.
And are you a sports fan, kind of, a little bit?
I am a sports fan. I really love football. I love soccer. I go to a huge hockey school at Quinnipiac University. So kind of got sucked into the hockey vortex, and now I love that as well. So I actually worked for my school's athletic department for a hot second. I was one of their hostesses for the arena, for the men and women's basketball teams, men and women's ice hockey teams. So I've actually really grown to love sports. It was something I was always like, if the game's on, I'll watch it. And now I'm like, all right, I actually really dig this.
There's a really kind of cool shows, Undisputed, and where they have kind of like two guys like Shannon Sharp or whoever arguing about sports. And on all these shows, they have like a female moderator, like Molly Quimum, I'm trying to think of her name, but she's great. Sure. And she hosts a show with Max Kellerman and this really outspoken gentleman, and they argue all the time, and she has to referee these guys and their egos. That's
amazing. I dig that so much.
Yeah, it's a lot of fun. Yeah, so I don't know. I just wondered, because you're so close to the ESPN offices, maybe drop off your headshot and resume at some point and say, hey, I'm here.
I believe in this motto of the feather, where, a feather kind of floats through the wind and it gets blown in all these different directions, but at the end of the day, it lands where it's supposed to. So if I get kind of pulled into an arena that I didn't necessarily think I would get pulled into, I'm never going to say no to that opportunity, because in the grand scheme of things, I'm a firm believer in fate, and I think that everything that happens to you in your life and every opportunity that's presented is there to teach you something, and I'm not going to pass down a life lesson.
That's awesome. And I wanted to ask you, we were talking about, before we got on the air, Miss America, not versus Miss Universe, but as compared to, because I think one thing as, kind of a casual person, I'm not aware of the differences in those two contests. What can you explain about the differences, or a little bit about the history, and just to clarify for those that don't know, like if they hear Miss America, it's not the same as Miss Universe.
No.
It's two different things. What's the difference?
So it's two completely different organizations. The Miss Universe organization runs Miss Universe, Miss USA, and Miss Teen USA. And those are strictly beauty pageants. So you're judged on your outward appearance. It's owned by the IMG modeling agency. They have very outspoken, accomplished women in that organization as well, but it's a beauty pageant.
Okay.
Whereas the Miss America organization is a scholarship-based organization. So how it works for us is we have to win a local title to go to our state, to go to Miss America. We have a 9.5-minute politically based interview. Like I mentioned earlier, we have our social impact. All the money that we win is scholarship dollars. And those scholarship dollars have to be directly paid to our academic institutions. So, it's not like, oh, I got a $1,000 scholarship, I'm gonna go on a shopping spree. It's you got a $1,000 scholarship, I'm gonna go get my master's, I'm gonna get my doctorate, I'm going to law school. And I think that that's absolutely amazing because as someone who received an academic scholarship for my undergraduate, the Miss America organization and the scholarship dollars that I've earned through the Miss Connecticut organization is helping me pay for my accelerated master's degree.
Which is in what again?
Public relations.
That's very exciting.
Yes.
So very cool. I mean, it's pretty fascinating. And, let's go back to the moment. When was Miss Fairfield County, like when were you awarded that title? What month was that?
So that was actually, when was it? I think it was February. It was the end of February.
Okay.
So I'm still nice and fresh, about a month in.
Right.
And it was at the University of New Haven, which is one of our gracious sponsors.
There's a wonderful photograph.
Yes, that was my photograph after the pageant in my amazing custom Sherry Hill gown that I'm obsessed with. Sherry Hill is an absolutely incredible designer. And it was a great night. The University of New Haven is a wonderful sponsor, let us use their auditorium and all their wonderful facilities. They actually offer scholarships.
Oh, here's from that same evening?
So this is actually from a different competition, but same gown. I love it.
Yes.
It's my everything. It's my baby.
Wow.
It's so unique. And what's really cool about it that you can't necessarily see in this picture is that there's actually a bodysuit inside of it. So when you walk, you actually can see the entire length of your leg.
Oh, wow.
It's absolutely beautiful. Oh my God, it's everything.
Let's see what, thanks to the guys, Kevin and Cody, for these photographs. What's next, guys?
They're killing it back there.
Oh, well, this is great. Now, this
shot.
is a new photo from before?
Yeah, so this is one of my modeling shots with Fadil Barisha Photography, and this dress is from B&B Couture, and they're absolutely amazing. They have the most amazing gowns. Fadil is such a talented photographer. You walk in there, and he makes you feel like $1 million.
Yeah.
So I was just like working with it, and I loved the fringe, and it was so fun to play with, so.
It reminded me a little bit of Jessica Alba from like 15 years ago.
Oh, thank you. Wow.
Yeah. Wow, here we go.
Yep, this was another shot. This is one of my favorite photos I've actually ever taken. It's so simple, and I think that's what I love about it.
Yeah, it's a great shot.
Thank you. So, yeah, good stuff.
Oh, this is a killer shot.
Thank you. Yeah, this is another one of my headshots. Again, just super simple. There's not a lot going on. It's just, it's direct headshot.
No, I mean, I'm not a fashionista myself here, but I'm noticing that your eyes look more pronounced brown at first look, but then as you look further, they do seem more, not green, but kind of bluish. It's interesting how the shirt and your hair changes the color of your eyes interpretation.
That's actually so funny that you bring that up. Everyone thinks my eyes are brown, but if you shine a light in them, they're actually green.
Interesting.
They're just such a dark green that unless I'm really tired or it's really, really bright, you can't tell.
Oh, very cool.
Yeah, so I'm so honored that you noticed that. That's like my weird fun fact.
No, it's cool. No, they're very cool. Great photographs.
Thank
and
you.
These I think one or two might have been from last time, but a lot of them were new photos from when you were on the last time. Look at this. Here we go.
That's that red dress again by B&B Couture. Absolutely amazing.
Wow.
It's so fun and so unique. And I love fringe. Like, fringe is in now, and I just love it.
Now, what's this?
So this was actually a shoot that one of my friends did in regards to sexual assault awareness. So myself, as someone who is a survivor of sexual harassment and assault, we told our stories through these photographs and through the shoot. So on the side of my face right here, as you can see, it says I was a bet. Mm-hmm. And that represents, an instance that had happened to me. Not the worst instance that had happened to me, but it was definitely something that, shook me and really forced me to grow from that experience. And that's why I started this Unapologetically Beautiful initiative, as I mentioned earlier, as my social impact.
Right.
It's, it's not just bullying. It's not just, body image. It's about all the circumstances that could potentially put you in a negative situation or bring you down. And, this image for me, it actually, in a way, was kind of like a smack in the face when I saw it. And I actually posted about it on my Instagram where, for so long I repressed these feelings of, I'm okay, it's fine, just put a smile on, you're good, you're good. And when I saw this, I was like, oh my God, like this, it got so real, but at the same time was so healing. And I walked away from seeing that image and said, you know what, I've overcome this. I have surpassed everything that, people have come down on me for and said I couldn't do and have tried to stop me, and things like this that are absolutely horrible. And so, that's what this initiative is about, and that's what this photo represents for me.
It's intense, and I'm glad that some of these issues are coming to light, because for so many years, people had this "don't talk about it," hush hush. This is a family secret. All these horrible things, and women especially, but also men, were told to not talk about things that had happened to them for fear of whatever, society or authority figures.
Right.
And there's definitely a role for authority figures, but when you look at the abuse, sometimes it could be a church, sometimes it could be a teacher. And it's horrible to go there because we don't want to think about these things, but sometimes you have to, because these things are happening, whether we think about them or talk about them or not.
Yeah, it's true.
So why not confront these people that are misusing their power, especially over children? It's horrible.
I remember my first experience with sexual harassment. I was actually in the 8th grade. And it in my head at the time, I think I was too naive to even realize what was going on.
Right.
But it was hard. Like, looking back on it as you get older and you start to, realize these concepts that you're kind of shielded from as a child, you're like, oh my God, like this actually happened to me. And then, as you go to college and you see your friends go through certain circumstances, and I've literally seen girls who have been drugged and end up 45 minutes away from campus, and they were just going out to have fun with their friends. They were
drugged at a party or something?
Yeah, I remember a girl that I knew, she, had an unfortunate situation, and she called me and she was like, what do I do? And
my God.
These are the stories, not only my stories, but the stories of people that I know and the people that I've seen. These are the stories that motivate me to go forward and to help educate young people, not only on how to handle these situations, but how to prevent them, how to see them when it comes to other people. Like you had mentioned earlier, we come from the society where it used to be hush hush, family secret, let's not talk about it. And that's how I used to be too. But now I'm realizing that if I keep quiet and everybody else keeps quiet, it's just going to become a vicious cycle of negative events that keep happening because we're not speaking to our kids about it, we're not bringing it to light, and it's just going to keep happening if it just keeps perpetuating itself.
It's always amazing to me when I have you or other guests and they talk about bullying in particular, that aspect. And I always think, man, wasn't bullying, didn't that come and go? But I guess not. It angers and frustrates me, thinking that for all our advances in technology and supposed equality, that these situations still exist at all. And it makes you feel sympathetic. And I've heard from teachers, friends of mine that are teachers, that social media can be very destructive with bullying. That's a weapon now for kids to tweet or to share pictures of fellow students and use this technology as a weapon to bully and isolate other students. And it's like, man, what is going on?
I know it's crazy. And, as far as you said about, the themes kind of coming and going, I think it's because, we hear about these things and, the media and us as a society, we push them and push them and push them for, a certain frame of time. And then afterwards, it kind of becomes, oh, okay, it's another bullying story. This is not newsworthy anymore. Oh, okay, it's another kid being bullied. Like, I've heard about this for the past year. Like, it's old news now. But the thing is, it's not old news because it keeps happening, and it's a new child and a new story. And if we keep treating it like it's old news and it's not happening, it's not going to go away. And you're absolutely right with social media being a weapon. When I was growing up and I was younger, my mother always had to be my friend on Facebook. My mother has to follow me in all other social media profiles, even though I'm 21 years old.
Right.
And I think that, that should be taken for the younger generation as well. My, little cousin who's 5, 6 years old, she literally has her own little iPhone, and we're introducing this technology and giving these kids these mediums and these platforms at such a young age. And if we're not monitoring it and we're not expressing to them the safe way to use these forms of communication, then we're not doing our job as a society, and we're perpetuating this negative behavior.
Savannah, wrap us up with a mantra for this episode. We'll see if we can have you back on a future episode real soon. But give us a mantra to wrap this episode up.
I'm going to give you Ellen DeGeneres' mantra that she uses to close her show every single time. Be kind to one another.
Well, that's a great thing, because sometimes, especially with social media, you find yourself, well, this person zung me, now I got to zing them.
And it's so petty.
Where's the best gif I can get to prove this guy is an idiot? You know, and I'm just involved in, like, you know, pro wrestling Twitter wars with people.
Oh gosh, that stuff is no joke. Oh my gosh, so many of my friends love pro wrestling and WWE, and I'm just like, you guys, like, this is real.
Well, people just want to argue about this match in 1995 did not have a conclusive. And I'm guilty of it too. Well, Savannah, we're going to have you back on another mantra.
Well, thank you very much. I appreciate it.
But I definitely appreciate Miss Fairfield County and Savannah Giammarco coming back to Messier Mantra with a new studio setup. It looks beautiful in here.
It's fabulous in here. Look at you. You got books now, and you're killing it. You killing it.
Yeah, well, each guest has to read a book before they leave Seacon. So,
all right. So let me get started. What do we have over here?
Well, Savannah, thank you very much for coming back.
Thank you so much for having me back. It's been a pleasure.
Thank you. We'll see you next time on Messier Mantra.